All right. Hello, everybody. I just got this book in the mail and was going to show you the cover of it. I used to follow Tamara on YouTube. I haven't watched anything by her in a few years, I think. But I've been wanting to get this book, and I'd earned enough points with my insurance. Our insurance, you earn points by going for a walk and that kind of stuff. So I had enough points to get an Amazon gift card, so I bought this book. And then in the mail also today, I got my postcards from Mary there that she had done with me. And you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to turn the autofocus off. So let's do that really quick. And hi, Mary Hill. Hi, Mrs. Gigi. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Mina. Hi, Shelly. Hi, Brittany. This will only take me a second. I want to switch to the snowball mic, and I want to turn autofocus off. I want to come in a little bit. Okie dokie. Hi, Kathy Whitney. So these were the postcards Mary had sent me, and I'll put those in my my postcard book that I've got. And then I got another envelope from Mary. Mary, you could have saved you some postage, stuck the postcards in the envelope. But that's okay. I have them postmarked this way, right? Mary's sending things out for Mod Appreciation Month. I think that's everything that's in her envelope. And there's Penelope. Hi, Becky. Journey won this cluster for you. Thanks for stopping by, Mary. So Journey had put my name down for this cluster. Let's see if we can just cut along here and pull this out here. So for anybody that's just popped in, we're going to work on our envelope journal. And I've put a link in the description to Kathy Orta King's channel. If you don't know Kathy, you need to go and subscribe. She does all these awesome journals. She has Paper Phenomenon, and she sells kits and that kind of stuff. So here's my little cluster from Mary that Journey won me. So thank you so much, ladies. Oops, lost the cluster off. So Kathy wanted to know the story behind these. Last night, Scott was late coming home from work, and he came in with a dozen roses, this box of crayons, and a box of chocolate truffles that he and I split. But the crayons, he handed these to me, and he said, "This is your box of crayons." He said, "The story about the crayons always makes me sad, and I want you to have this box of crayons and know that nobody will ever break them." When I was little, I was raised by my mother, my grandmother. My mother was very young, and she wasn't ready to be a mom at the time. And what she would do is she would buy me gifts because she couldn't be with me. So my mom had given me a big box like this for Christmas or something. Well, I love the crayons so much. I took them and my coloring book everywhere I went. Well, I went to an aunt and uncle's house, and we were sitting there, and I was letting my cousins use my crayons. Well, the two older cousins, I'm not giving names because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but the two older cousins decided to start fighting over the black crayon. See, I even remember the color of the crayon they were fighting over. And instead of teaching their children to share, my aunt at the time took the black crayon and she broke it in 3 pieces and gave one to each of us. And I hadn't even been fighting over the crayon. I was just sitting there waiting for someone to tell them they had to share. And then she proceeded to just grab any crayon that wasn't in the box and snapped them into 3 pieces so everybody would have a piece. And so that's why Scott bought the crayons for me. And he said, those are your crayons. So yeah, that's the story behind the crayons. All right, so we're going to start working on our journal. I want to work on this for the hour and be off here by about 4 o'clock. So we will we'll just get started. I told y'all to bring some cardstock, and this is where we stopped last week. We had our envelopes on our hinges, and I told you to bring some chipboard, and I've got black cardstock because I think I want to put black on my cover, and then when I use the paper, I can just cut mats for my cover. Because it's 6 inches wide, I wouldn't have a big enough piece to go all the way over the book. So this is the paper I'm using, the Archivist by Frank Garcia. So set the print paper aside. The first thing you need to do, because I don't know if everybody's using the same size envelopes, and I want you to make sure, you're not just using my measurements, because if your envelopes are a different size, you're going to have to do a different measurement. All right, so what you're going to need, where your flaps are, the flaps that stick out, you want to measure from one of that side to the other and see what you get. And I get about 1.25 inches, which makes sense because that's 1/4 inch, that's 1/4 inch, that's 1/4 inch, that's 1/4 inch, and that's 1/4 inch. So it should be 1 1/4 inches wide. What you're going to do for your binding is you're going to cut a piece at 1 3/8 inch wide. So there's a little structure all the way from edge to edge. Now, if you measure this way, I get 5 3/4. So I just added 1/8 inch. So it's 5 7/8. Okay. So my binding, my back piece for the binding is 1 3/8 by 5 7/8. Okay. And I did it slightly bigger. And when I put my book in, my envelope part in with the hinges, I'll center it between the top and the bottom. Okay. Now, as far as your covers go, they need to be 5 7/8 inches tall by, and I measured this at 4 1/4. So I made my cover 4 3/8. I just added 1/8 inch so that it'll just give me a very slight overhang that's a little bit larger than the pages. So you'll need 2 pieces that are 4 3/8 by 5 7/8 if you use the invitation sized envelopes. But from your measurements, you're going to add 1/8 inch. So measure your envelopes and then add 1/8 inch to each measurement, and you should be fine. I also have a spare piece of the same chipboard, and I'll show you what I'm going to use that for in just a sec. But I'm going to set my black and white cardstock and my envelopes aside because we need to work on the cover for a little bit. All right. Let's say hi to everybody. Hi, Mary. Got a full house going here. Let's see. All right. Scroll down through here. Yeah, I've been trying to do Wednesdays and Thursdays at 3 o'clock Eastern. I know that. I think that's noon for you, isn't it, Kathy? So high noon. Oh, I'm sorry, Therese. If you can find a scoreboard of any type in a thrift store, I would recommend it. Scott does gifts like that for me. He's always wanting to try to recover the hurt I had as a child. So he always makes a big effort of trying to help me heal those wounds that make my heart hurt. Oh, thank you, Mina. Thanks, Sharon. Hi, Maria B. Hi, Beth. Yeah, Sharon, are you feeling any better? Okay, she says she'll be back Saturday. All right, so has everybody measured their envelopes and added 1/8 inch to the height and the width? We're ready to go out to the next step. I know a lot of people, when they do these covers, they will use Tyvek to reinforce. I just use duct tape because it's going to be hidden under everything anyway, right? But to get us started, I'm going to use just some masking tape. Get some masking tape out. Just plain old masking tape while I'm fiddling with this. And I'm just going to pull off just a little piece, a couple little pieces. And I'm just going to set them on my duct tape there so I can grab them. All right, so you're going to take your spine piece and your back cover. And what I do is I put the spare piece of chipboard in there, and I cut it just so it would be a workable thing. And then I line up my spine and all, and with this in between the spine and the cover. And then I'm going to hold those down and just pull this out and then put my masking tape down. And what this does is it gives you that space that the book needs to close so that you have a little space there. So basically, this spacer is the same height as my pieces of chipboard. I might have to turn the whole thing around because it's hard for me to do the right position. So I've got this against the spine again. I'm going to put this in again here. Hold it down. Lift this up. Don't move anything. Then put your masking tape down. All right, so now you have that little space. Now you can get you a piece of duct tape and you're just going to cover the whole back there. And this I got at that store Ollie's, where you get good stuff cheap. It was like $4 for this huge roll of turquoise duct tape. But you want something sturdy, like the Tyvek envelope. You could glue a piece of that down through there. I don't have one of those around, so I'm just going to use duct tape. And it works beautifully. And this is super sticky duct tape. And I just press that down there. I take my bone folder and kind of push it in that crease, if I can find the crease again. There it is, right there. You will not see your duct tape. The duct tape's going to be covered with paper, so don't worry about that. And we'll flip it over. And you can trim that, or you can just roll it over the edge. See, I'm going to put another piece on this other side, and I might make it longer on purpose so it'll wrap around. All right, so is everybody following idea along okay? This is some really sticky duct tape. If you have an Ollie's near you and you want something that's super sticky, this stuff is amazing. flip it over and just move it to the inside. Okay. We'll just smooth it out. And then you can bend it, and there's your book cover. And it's nice and sturdy. All right. Now, if you wanted to, and you didn't mind, if you had a duct tape, like say you had a black duct tape, you wouldn't even have to cover this. You could just leave this as your spine and then just cover the front and the back. My paper will not match this. So, yeah, we're going to have to cover it. And this paper, I could use white paper because I use white envelopes, but I got to thinking how pretty it would be as if everything was covered in the black. So I'm just going to take a sheet of black. And what I want to do first is I'm going to put a piece on the inside here. This is going to be the inside of my book. Let me think about this. Do I want to do that or not? No, we're going to cover the outside first. Yeah. And then I'll just cut a piece that fits in here and glue it down. I'm thinking about covering the edges is what I'm thinking. So if I put this on here, an 8.5 by 11 is going to be barely a fit, but it's what I have, so I'm going to use it. And when I do this, I gently work the paper. I don't try to force it over. If you go slow and you work the paper, you're stretching and bending those fibers instead of trying to fold them. It actually stretches them, okay? And then you can push down. You can even use your bone folder if you want to. Now, what I tend to do is right here where those creases are, go ahead and put a crease in your edge. And I don't go all the way to the edge, but I do trim some of this paper out of there. Let me get my other scissors that I like to use. The main reason I do that is I don't want a whole bunch because this tape is already thick. I want to take away some of the weight of the paper that's in here. So I'm just trimming a little wedge out. Does that make sense? So you don't have just a ton of paper in your piece all the way in. So just something like that. Can everybody see that okay? All right. I'm going to turn this. If you want, you can go ahead and glue that side down. I might do that. Or you could tape it. And I'm just going to use my the first video is also linked in the description box. I put it down there. And I'm using glue. And I'm just going to put a bunch on here. I should have probably trimmed my corner, but I can do that in a minute. I just want to get this glued down so it doesn't move while I'm working on the other side. But I figured we'd work until 4 and then we'd pick up again next Thursday. I just thought this would be a fun little work-along project. We'll see how far we get. If you have clips, you could put some clips on here. or put something heavy on it if you need to. I'm not too worried about it getting glue on some of this black because it's going to be underneath. All right. I don't have a wet one here. Hang on just a second. We'll see if that'll stay down while I grab something to wipe my hands. I'm out of wet ones. I'm going to borrow some of Bernadette's that I clean her ears with. They're made for doggies. They smell like vanilla and coconut, and they're a puppy dog deodorizing wipe. They actually smell pretty good. All right. We'll let that set up for just a sec while I work this side of the paper. See, when you force it to go over, that's how you, sometimes I'll end up with the cracks in your paper. But if you just kind of ease it over until it just about lays down, there we go. See, now it's at a point where it'll accept some abuse now. Sometimes the paper will crack if you try to force it too hard and heavy. If you have to think, it's made out of a fiber, a wood fiber pulp. All right, so I'm going to show you two ways to do this. So I've already glued this side down, so I would need to feel where that point is. And we're going to just trim some of that away. Like that. Like that. Or if you wanted to, you could just trim some away all the way across. So you would cut and leave about 1/8 of an inch here at the corner and just cut at an angle. So that mine match, I'm going to go ahead and glue this side. Oh, I've got to cut my little valleys out here. Because keep in mind, I'm going to add another piece of paper here in just a minute. Actually, no, I won't. Instead of doing the cover up now, we'll do it after we put our hinges in, because the rest of this will be covered with the hinge. So it won't matter. We won't need to put black paper there. And when I put the hinge unit in, I don't use just glue with it. I use some of that double-sided tape as well as the glue. And the reason I do that is because I really want it to stick in there. Because I'm not sewing this in. See, if I had a 12 by 12 piece of paper instead of this 8.5 by 11, I'd have a little bit more to come over the edge. I'm a little concerned about that, but I'm trying to use what I have before I buy more. So we'll see how this little journal turns out. Let's see here. Hope I got enough glue on there. Hi, Janice. I just saw you peek in. Hi, Holly. You guys play nice. Play nice. Oh. All right, it looks like it's going to stick. I'm going to go ahead and trim this corner off here. All right, so now I got to do the same on each end. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this part off just on the top part and leave like an envelope flap at the back. see if I can do this. So I'll just trim this back some. And trim this one. All right, that way I'm only folding the single layer of paper over. See that I'm going to, because there's not much paper here, I'm probably going to have to use clips, and I'm just working it over, stretching and bending those fibers. And see, there we'll end up with a really nice edge. That needed to be trimmed just a little bit more off this other paper so that I'm just trimming the little short flap, even with the edge of the cardboard, so that when I glue this other flap over, I'll have a nice, neat edge. Okay, put some glue on here. I meant to cut cards to fit in my envelopes so I'd have them for tags. We'll see how far we get today. I'm not going to make you sit and watch me cut cards out. That's the beauty if you bought like those card making kits that come with envelopes and cards. You already have the cards that you would need to do the flaps and tags pieces like I showed last week. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. All right, that's the beauty of the Scotch Quick Dry, is it grabs quickly. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bend these a little bit so I can see where to trim. And I'll trim those little flaps off. See, I'm just trimming this part that's toward the inside. There's one. I really like how that's finishing off the edge. You don't end up with that funky corner when you try to trim it away. So I like this method better. I think this is what I'm going to use from now on. Just trimming the little flap off. And then all I've got to glue up is the piece that's on the from the outside over. And I know you probably think, oh, she's so fiddly, but you know what? It really helps. All right. Glue it up. I did not, the only place I'm adding glue is these flaps. The front of it, I did not glue. You know, I did not spread glue over all of this. Maybe I should have, but I'm just doing it on the flaps. I've found sometimes when you try to spread a lot of like liquid glue, you end up with your paper getting all wrinkled. So I always figure once it's folded over and I've put everything inside, it's not going to come loose. So I did not put the glue on the outside of the book. All right. So I'm going to run my bone folder back in my creases between the spine and the covers. And again, I'm going to work it slowly. And you don't have to bend it all the way over. You just have to get it in a 90-degree angle. Oh, I hear some ripping. We'll see if we end up with okayness. See, you only need to get it up like that. Go ahead and bend this up here. And you only have to come up to a 90-degree. It doesn't have to fold all the way over the other way. Maybe I should have glued it because it's bubbling. Maybe I've told you all wrong. Look at that. That's not good. I wonder if I can get it loose. I thought I was doing so good. I wish I'd seen you comment before. Oh, it's not doing. Oh, that's not good. All right. Sorry, Mary. Let's see if I can get it loose. Maybe if I hurry quickly, I can get it loose. Maybe you do have to glue the outside. Where were you when I needed you? No. So see, even us that do crafts all the time make boo-boos and mistakes. But it's okay. It's only paper. It's only chipboard. And see, I'm using that Scotch Quick Dry, man, and it's dried. I'm getting it, though. So back up. You need to glue the paper to the cardboard on the outside. But the good news is I'm getting it off from here, and I'll be able to do that. And everything will be scored and good to go. And most of this is going to be underneath all the other. Sorry about that. I messed up. I forgot to glue. That shows you should read your chat more often, Becky. Can I get it loose? Yes, I can. We're going to unmess ourselves. There we go. Don't worry about the little bits and stuff. It'll all be good. There we go. Okay, so we need to put glue on the outside of this. I hate when I mess up. Aggravates me. I didn't even think about it buckling. But now you know. You watched Becky make that mistake. Don't do it yourself. But I do like how the corners worked. So I will repeat that. All right. What is that? Do as I say, not as I do. Oh, Lord. All right. All right. So we won't make that mistake again. We'll glue the covers next time. All right. Now I've got goop on my finger, goop on my table. See, I like to show the mistakes too. I mean, if you go back and you edit all your mistakes out, you don't show anybody that mistakes happen, and then they don't. Some people get discouraged the first time they get a mistake. I don't. It's like a lesson learned. I won't do that again. All right. Oh, I don't like that it got glue there. That's all right. It'll be okay. Don't worry about it. All right. Now it is glued to the paper. Exactly. When you watch an artist make a mistake or a crafter make a mistake, that's the best way to learn what not to do, right? So let's do this again. And not, you know, even the ones that have been doing crafting and stuff for years, we still make mistakes, you guys. Nobody's perfect. And if they think they are, they're fooling themselves, right? I will admit that sometimes I get discouraged myself, but then I pick myself up and try again. I'm getting glue everywhere. So this might not be the neatest little book as ever, but we'll see. It might surprise me and turn out just fine. I'm getting glue everywhere. Slow down, Becky. Slow down. Well, now you know. I make boo-boos too. Now fold it back and forth while it's still wet. You only need to come up to the 90 degrees on the cover. Good point. Thanks, Barbara. Yay, Barbara saved me. There we go. Somebody else mentioned the glue the outside. So yay, thank you guys. It's better than getting farther along and really messing it up. It's feeling a little wobbly because I got so much glue on it, but I want to have enough glue that it's going to stay stuck. All right. I hope so, Brittany. I hope you're right. I hope it won't even show that I messed up. The sun is coming out. It's so nice. It's just been raining so much. We have like this huge, slick, muddy mess right in front of the front stoop. Scott about fell because he hit some of that thing. Happy accidents. Yep, that's right. But I do like how I did the corners on that. I will do my corners like that from now on because it gives a really nice finish. Really nice finish on the corners. Thank you, Janet, for the thumbs up call. Thank you very much. Whoop, whoop. There we go. We fixed it. Oh, that's so much better. All right. I still probably should have trimmed some more paper out of the crease, but we're going to go with it and pretend it's perfect. All right. I'm going to close my glue up while I add tape to this. I'm going to set this aside to dry some more while I put tape and stuff on here. Yay! I'm going to use my 1/4 inch score tape. It's not really score tape. It's called scrappy tape or something like that. And I'm just going to run one strip down each of where the 1/4 inch space is on the binding that we did. So I'm just going to run those along there. Might be easier said than done. Let's see what I can do here. But Kathy Order, this is her original hinge system. She has some other ones, but she's copyrighted those. But she has beautiful paper collections, and she's got kits for sale and all kinds of stuff like that. Kathy Orta is one of the first ones I watched about doing like little envelope journals. And I made one of these for my cousin's daughter, for her daughter's photographs. I'll have to see if I can find a picture of that and share it in my group. Maybe in Phibbsville too. See if I can find that journal. That one I did all in with black envelopes. I can't remember the paper pad I used, but it was very girly. I think it was called Serendipity. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a Serendipity was the name of the paper pad I used. And Courtney loved it. She's got her little girl's pictures in it. I was going to make one for her little boy too, but then this whole move to another city thing happened, and that project just got set way back. Her little boy's getting older and older, and kids don't stay little forever, do they? This is a tricky bit, getting this sucker centered on your book. And I've got some wider score tape that I'm going to put on the flaps, but I'm not going to take the backing tape off from the flap ones until we're ready to set that in. But I do need to get the tape on there. Let me see. I know I have some wider. Yeah, it's scrappy tape, and I get it from Scrapbook Pal. Thought I had some extra wide. It was like 1 inch. No, this is the Hidden Hinge system by Kathy Orta, and you make. Let me see if I can find that thing. No, I threw it away. You make a folded piece here, and it has flanges on it that the envelopes slide over and attach to. And so these aren't sewn in; they're glued and taped to the flanges that you create on the piece of paper. The measurements for scoring for this piece are on the first video. I didn't add them to this video, but the link to the first video from last Thursday is in the description box. Yes, we're adding the cover to the envelope journal. And see, if you had envelopes and cards, this is what I was talking about earlier, is you can turn your cards into tags that slide in like that. I mean, you could slide the whole thing, the whole card into the envelope, but if you leave the flap here, it gives you something to pull it out. So if you put a card in each envelope like this, that gives you 1, 2, 3, 4 more places that you can add pictures. And then you can put a picture here and a picture here. So on each envelope, you'd get 6 pictures that way. And I'm going to cut 5 more cards to do this with. I think I'm going to take that card out right now just to make this a little lighter. Let me add the tape here. Now I'm going to put 1/2 inch tape on the tabs. If I had 1 inch tape, I could do it with one pass, but I've got this here. Because you want to center this and get it so it's not in there at an angle. I'm just adding tape right now. Nothing too crazy, just tape. These little envelope journals are fun to make and give as gifts. They turn out so cute. All right, before I put this in here, I want to say something about this here. I should have trimmed that paper. No, but if you want this to have a tie closure, like if you wanted to put ribbon in, I would do that now. I would center the ribbon and just glue it in here. So it's behind and between the papers. That's what I would do. You can either put it inside underneath, you know, all of the hinges and everything. So your tie would come out from the inside, or you can put your ribbon on the outside and run it around. So that's a personal choice of yours. If you want it to just tie on the edges here and be in between the pages, you have to put your ribbon across on the inside. But if you want it to be on the outside, you can add your ribbon to the center here and it'll just stick out, and then it would kind of cover the edge too. So when it was tied, it would cover everything. I think I'm going to put mine on the outside. I'm going to put a ribbon tie on this. Because, you know, by the time you put pictures in it and stuff, sometimes it'll start gaping. If you put a ribbon on it, then they can tie it closed. So I'm going to see if I've got a black ribbon to put on this. If not, I'll look and see what I have close to this paper pad. Black would have been nice, but I don't know if I do. All right. So it doesn't matter if you have the front of the envelope toward the front of your book or the back. You're going to cover all the pages anyway with paper. So you just decide whatever way you get it in there is fine. This piece, I haven't pulled any tape loose. We're going to center it on here. So I'll have to stand up. And I just kind of eyeball it and get it centered. You just want the edge over here to line up with the edge of right by your dip. And then you want the same amount showing if you can make it at the top and the bottom. And then we're just going to glue it down. And I think what I'm going to do is just get my tape started here. No, I'm going to have to pull them all off because there's nowhere to hide your other. The 1/4-inch tape is what I'm removing the backing for now. So the tape will all be exposed. But I hold on to the flanges that stick out to help me get it centered. So you're only removing the tape on the little narrow sections, not taking the tape off these just yet. And for added stability, I'm just going to put some glue on here. Try not to get it where it's going to be visible, but we'll see. And I'll look at chat here in just a sec. All right. All right, so I've got my flaps here, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball where everything needs to go. Because once I set this down, it's over with. It's a done deal once it's hit the mark here. Okay. All right. Go in between each one and push down and hope we're good. I guess we'll find out here shortly. And we used 6 envelopes. Okay. see here. All right. I'm just going in between each one and making sure my tape is pushed down. Come around here and do this way. I do see a little peekies of my duct tape, but it'll be all right. It matches okay. All right, I don't know if I'm going to worry about glue on these pieces. I just need to get the tape things off from here. And what I'm going to do when I do the flaps, I'm not going to push the flaps down onto this. I'm going to bring the cover up to the flap and press in like that. I'm not going to push this down onto that because you want to make sure that it will move with the cover. Does that make sense? I'm going to bring the cover up to meet this. Oh man, I can't get it loose. Where's my pokey tool? Got some adhesive sticking over. What is my... Oh, it says let's roll. My Fitbit's telling me I need to walk. In a minute. Quit being a nag. Bring that up and hook that to it. Oh, it's not doing. I want this to stick down. Maybe I do need to. I don't know. I'm going to push it down and see if it'll work because the other way wasn't working. See? I think I need to alter Kathy's instructions a little bit because I think you need a score line back here. I'm just going to add one with, now that I've got it stuck down, I'm just going to score with my thing in my crease. That helped. Because I think there needs to be another score line, another 1/4 inch score line that you don't put any tape on. You just have there to go down in there. All right. So it's fiddly. You might have to work it to get it to work. And I've added a score in that little dip. There we go. All right. So we need to do this other side and see if I can make it work. It's been a while since I made one of these. I guess I should have made a practice one to forego the mistakes, make it look perfect. But you know what? I think people learn better when you make mistakes and they're going, oh, she did that. So I'm going to score in that little crease that's there. Oh, see, it's not sticking in there. Why isn't that sticking? Right here. Yeah, I think there needs to be another little score at the front and the back or something. All right. Well, mine's in there, kind of, sort of. Is everybody else doing okay? Oh, Mary had to leave. All right. Well, it's taken me an hour to do that. I just, yours isn't sticking either. Well, I got mine to stick now by pushing with my, this thing. I was going to say embosser tool, but that ain't right. Whatever this is called. Push down on there. It might need to let the glue set up. And I do think it's going to need a tie to hold it closed. So I need to make a note to add another little score line, maybe 1/8 of an inch away for that hinge to work in. And that last envelope's really sticking out long too. I don't know. Let's see. Well, that's what I've got so far. Mary says she's doing fine. Well, this is sticking now. I had to go in and push some more on it, but it seems to be doing okay now. I'm going to go ahead and finish this cover part, and then next week we'll add paper. So I'm going to be a little past the hour today. What I want to do now is I want to cut a piece of paper that'll fit on this back cover to cover this edge of this white here and come over a ways. So I'm going to measure that, and I'm going to cut a mat basically that's 4 1/8 by, I would say 5 7/8. 5 7/8 by 4 1/8, I think is what I said. Yeah. I'm going to cut it that, and then if it needs to be trimmed down smaller, I'll know. So if I do 4 1/8 this way, and then 5 7/8 this way, and that'll go in and just cover the edges like that. Oh, is this one? I got 4 1/8. By 5 7/8. Okay. And then I'm going to cover this over. And when I put these mats down, I'm going to leave just a tiny little bit of the actual edge showing on here. So maybe 1/8 of an inch exposed of the black all the way around the mat. And then it'll just come short of where the cover needs to fold. And that'll just give you a nice finished look on the inside. Okay? So we're learning all kinds of things as I make mistakes today. So sorry about the boo-boos, you guys. But hey, it happens. Hi, Mary. Oh, it's Marge West. Hello. Hi, Joey. I probably missed some folks coming in. So sometimes we make mistakes and we have to pull things apart and we have to fix them because that's the nature of being creative. Now, if I was like turning around and making a whole bunch of these little journals, one after the other, you'd get so you know where the mistakes could happen. And then they become like something you can do a lot of really quick. And I'm really tempted to make up a bunch of journals and use up these cards and envelopes. I used up a bunch of them over Christmas, and that was fun. So there's a mat for the back and a mat for the front. Yeah, pockets can get tricky if if you're the one doing the talking and you're doing a video or you're live like I am. When you're doing a video, you can take those boo-boos out and make it look seamless and all of that. But when you're live and you make a boo-boo, everybody that's watching has to understand that it was a live event. This is a live event. I am on here live right now. And it's been a while since I made one of these journals. And, boo-boos happen. So this will be the last thing I do today is add these mats. Next week, I'm going to show you, I'm going to go ahead and cut cards to fit in all my envelopes, because if you do these with card and envelope sets, you will have to trim some off your card because we have that hinge in there. If you don't want the card to stick out, if you want it to go all the way in the pocket, you'll have to trim some off. But I'm going to cut those. And when we meet again, I'm going to have the cards on mine. But then I'm also going to show on the mat that you produced to go on this back, we will add a little tuck pocket. And we'll do those probably the first thing next week. And I'm going to show you how to do those before you put your mat down. I'm going to show you how to add the corner pockets so they're really, really stable. And you don't have a bunch of adhesive that is free for whatever you stick in your pocket to get caught on. I found this way of doing them where all of the glue and stuff is hidden away from what you would stick in the pocket. No envelopes were harmed in the making of this journal. All right, this one, when I do these mats, I'm doing my trick. I take the tape off. It's not really my trick. I learned it from one of the card makers that I watch all the time. But I'm going to take it all the way off there, but leave it on here like dog ears. And then when you go to put it on here, you can kind of hold the dog ears out of your way and get yourself centered before you commit to sticking it down all the way. Remember, I'm leaving about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Once I feel good about it, I'll push down in the middle, and then I'll just start pulling my dog ears. Uh-oh, I lost a dog ear. It went hiding. That one I got a little off, but it's okay. It happens. So we're going to have a little envelope journal. You might have to work your covers a little bit, but once that glue sets up on those spines, they'll quit popping loose on me. Okay, Mrs. Gigi, thank you. Bye, Gigi. All right, so next week, bring your book. If you've made cards, have them ready to go, and we will do decorating pages, and I'll show you how to do that pocket that's kind of got hidden tabs, so you don't end up with glue, ever getting in the way. And you can use just tape for it instead of having to use glue. This is much better with having it this way. This way I can get it more even. All right. Yeah, that's much better. Have your book towards you so you can see the edge. Just another tip. So bring your paper next week and bring maybe some extra white cardstock for cards and tags. And we'll do some tags and tag making. I'm sure everybody knows how to make a tag. and ribbon. If you want to find some ribbon that will match your paper, that would be awesome, you know, for our tie closure, because I'm going to put a tie closure on mine. So it'll tie right here. All right. So I'll see you guys next week. Terry's got a question above. The cards you use, are they folded or single paper? It's folded. So like if you had like the cards and the tags, like if you were using some old thank you notes, you'd already have cards. And see, it's just folded. And what I did is I trimmed about a 1/2 inch off because of the hinge hiding in here so that the card would go all the way in. And I like to do this instead of having just tags, because then you never have to dig for them because the flap is sticking out. Does that make sense? So it makes a flap here for you, but then it's like a tag because you have 2 more spaces that you can work on. And I like to do this for people that maybe have a new baby that they got to send pictures to somebody that lives out of state or out of country. They can do it and fill an album like this up, slam up with pictures. Because if you put a card in each pocket and then maybe a tag, a journal tag on the back, like they could include pictures from an event on this side, like put a picture here and then 4 pictures on the card, and then on the back have a tag in a pocket with a description of, you know, where they were, who this is in these pictures, and that kind of stuff. They can journal on that and have it on the back side of each page. So you would get 5 pictures plus a journaling spot. And if you wanted to add another tag to the pocket in the back to add a smaller picture, you could do that too. So I will do more on this next Thursday at 3 p.m. and I will see you then. I will also be coming on next Wednesday at 3 p.m. And next week we'll do a dirty dozen for artist trading cards. I'd like to do some spring artist trading cards. So thank you guys, and I'll see you later.